Hi everybody, how's it going? My name's Jorge Rodriguez. I'm a sophomore student at the University of Missouri. But yeah, I make designs, and that's kind of what I've been doing for a long time as a hobby. I kind of worked in the design space for a little bit, did some internships, got some good experience, but I've since taken a break. But through that kind of break I took, I've kind of realized that I want to give some advice as to how I do my work and how my process looks like. 'Cause I know for me, when I was first getting started, I didn't know really how long a project would take. I know that's still something I just don't know. I didn't know like who to look for inspiration. I didn't know anything about creative block, anything like that. So the goal of this is really to try to give you guys my experience of that and kind of walk you through my process in designing some stuff. So if you haven't seen my work, here's a few of my pieces. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. But today we're gonna try something a little bit different. So my best friend is asking for a Christmas gift. And obviously I go to University of Missouri. The Chiefs are really big. And she asked me for a Nick Bolton Chiefs graphic. So I figured I might as well just do that and just kind of film the process as to how I start, kind of where I go for inspiration. And I haven't made it yet. I'm filming this before I even start. So you guys can see the finished product when I do. So yeah, let's get into it. So for this design, I kind of have a few different ideas that I want to do. So if you've seen my work, kind of what I stick to is a plain background. I like to mess with scripted text as well, and I kind of like to keep things in a constrained little box. I have an idea with the text that I really want to key in on. So obviously his last name is Bolton, right? Sounds like lightning bolt. So what I'm going to try to do is play with that a little bit, kind of play with the lightning bolt idea, go into Procreate, write his name or whatever, put a little lightning bolt in there, see what happens. But really I want to key in on the shadows. I want it to be like kind of like a in your face type. I want him to be flexing or something like that. I don't know. We're going to see because I haven't looked at any pictures. So basically, we're going to go through that. But also part of my design process that I feel like is very typical among everybody is to have like an inspiration folder. So some people do that in Pinterest. Some people do that on Behance. I just, save images on my phone. So I'll go through Twitter. If I see like a dope design, I'll save it, keep it for the album or whatever. So here's kind of what it looks like. I can't see where I'm at right now, so hopefully this is enough space to show it. But here's just a bunch of images that I look at for inspiration. Sometimes I look at the same image over and over. There's some designers I go to very frequently. So I kind of go through that, and if I see something that really sticks out, I'm going to kind of key in on that. My design. But the goal is to come up with something new, come up with something creative, come up with something that's your own, which I feel like is tough when you're first getting started because you don't know what that looks like. But I feel like after a while, you kind of, right? That's not very good advice, but you'll know. So I'm gonna hop into Photoshop and I'm gonna go through, get some images that we can use, and I'll go through kind of how I'm gonna go from start to finish. So here we are in Photoshop. I pulled 2 images from Google, but I'm only gonna end up using the one that I'm cutting out right now. Here I am trying to attempt the double exposure. Now I go to camera raw, and I'm trying to bring out some texture and some kind of grade into the image. And I do that by messing with the clarity filter and the texture filter. So right here, I'm going to try to add some shadows to the bottom of the feet and the bottom of the legs, also with the arms. I'm also going to add some light to the edges of the arms to try to give the image some more contrast. So right about now is when I realized, okay, maybe I cannot use the background image. There's just too much going on. And that's really okay. So that's kind of why I'm keeping it in there. I added some script Bolton text in there. That's what you saw. I didn't end up using it, but I ended up repurposing it. So here's kind of where I start messing with stuff in Procreate. I made a paintbrush stroke type background, and that's what you're seeing there. Added a gradient to it, nothing too crazy. So here I'm changing the selective color. I'm trying to bring out colors that are being used in that gradient behind him to kind of make it match a little bit. I also put a gray filter on the original version of the image to even out the blue tones in the jersey and to kind of make it more neutral. I'm adding some brightness to the arms. And here I added another element that I made in Procreate. It's supposed to be an arrowhead. I'm not sure if people could tell that, but that's what it's supposed to be. I tried to add some shadows to it as well. And then here I'm working more on the foot shadows, which I think is super important. I think if you're not spending time on foot shadows, it's definitely something that can take your designs to the next level. It's something that I've tried to work on a little bit more, and I think it totally makes a difference in your designs. So I added some Bolton text that I actually made in Procreate as well. I added some displacement maps, and I messed with that image one more time to try to figure out if there's a way I could keep it in there. I eventually scrapped it for good and did without it. So now I'm trying to bring out the more blue sides of the photo, I'm trying to add some contrast because I feel like the blue and the red goes really well together. Adding some shadows and then adding some smoke as well. Adding a stormy background, and then that ends up being pretty much the final image. So I'm sorry for the change in scenery. I actually, right after that video was shot, I did drive back home to Dallas. So it did take a minute to get everything settled in. But I really hope you enjoy this video. I think this is really what my process looks like. I didn't really go in detail on a lot of different things like lighting or layout and stuff like that. Those are topics for other videos, but this is really just supposed to show you what I think about when I design. I look through my inspiration folder, stuff like that, and I kind of go into Photoshop. I'll make mistakes. Like for this video, I tried to go in wanting to do a double exposure and it ended up looking terrible, so I scrapped it and did something else. I also said in the beginning of the video I wanted to do something with script text or whatever. I just didn't do it. It didn't look good, so I scrapped it. And that's just really how my process works. I'm gonna link down below the PSD that I used here. If you like the image, you can go through, kind of see the color corrections I used, see how I organize my files. If you paid attention to the layers panel on Photoshop when I was doing the time lapse, you would see that it's super unorganized. So I'm about to spend like the next 30 minutes trying to organize that for you guys so you can look through and actually find what you're looking for. I'm very unorganized in that respect, so I'm gonna try to be better at that. But I will link that below, so if you want to take a look at it, you definitely can. If you want, you can also follow me on Twitter at J_RODR1. I also post on Behance every so often, so if you look up Jorge Rodriguez on Behance, you can find my account as well. All in all, I really hope this video helps you in some way. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Twitter. Yeah, that's what I have for this video, and hopefully you guys tune in for the next one. Thanks.